The Wehrmacht, forged after World War I, was obsessed with avoiding the horrors of trench warfare. They embraced new technologies, tanks, aircraft, and radio, to create a doctrine of speed and surprise, Blitzkrieg. Instead of slow, grinding battles, they aimed for rapid breakthroughs, using concentrated armored thrusts and close air support to shatter enemy lines. Once a gap was made, tanks surged deep into enemy territory, sowing chaos, while infantry followed to encircle and finish off isolated defenders. Decentralized command, or Auftragstaktik, empowered officers to act on initiative, making the Wehrmacht more flexible than its adversaries. Leaders like Guderian and Manstein believed psychological shock could win battles before the enemy could react. In 1939, the Wehrmacht was a tool honed for short, decisive wars, an approach that would initially seem unstoppable. Blitzkrieg stunned the world in Poland and then France, where German tanks bypassed strongpoints and encircled entire armies. France, thought invincible, fell in 6 weeks, cementing the Wehrmacht's myth of invincibility and fueling dangerous overconfidence. But these victories masked deep flaws. The Wehrmacht was built for quick campaigns, not prolonged wars. Logistics were already strained, and Germany's economy wasn't prepared for a drawn-out conflict. There was no backup plan if Blitzkrieg failed. The system relied on rapid, total victory. The defeat of France left Britain defiant, and the German high command began to believe tactical brilliance could solve any problem. This hubris led them to underestimate future enemies and the challenges of geography and supply. Their next target, the vast Soviet Union, would expose every weakness. In June 1941, Germany invaded the Soviet Union with over 3 million men, expecting another quick victory. Initial advances were spectacular, with huge Soviet losses and deep German penetrations, but strategic confusion plagued the campaign. Should they strike for Moscow or seize resources in the south? Hitler's indecision delayed the advance, and autumn rains turned roads to mud, stalling the offensive. The Germans underestimated Soviet resilience and the sheer scale of the country. As winter set in, the Wehrmacht was exhausted, ill-equipped, and far from home. The Red Army did not collapse. Moscow held. Blitzkrieg had failed, and Germany was trapped in the long war it had always feared. The Wehrmacht's logistical system was fatally flawed. Most of its transport still relied on horses, and its vehicles were a patchwork of captured models. Supplying the front became impossible as roads turned to mud and then ice, immobilizing men and machines. The brutal Russian winter froze equipment, and men alike German soldiers lacked proper clothing and supplies. Soviet railways used a different gauge, forcing Germans to rebuild tracks mile by mile, constantly harassed by partisans. As the front stretched deeper into Russia, supply lines grew perilously thin and vulnerable. Without fuel, ammunition, or food, even the best panzer divisions were rendered useless. The environment and distance, not just the Red Army, broke the back of Blitzkrieg. The Wehrmacht's operational brilliance was undone by the tyranny of logistics and the Russian landscape. Stalingrad became the turning point. Hitler's obsession led to a disastrous siege, trapping the German Sixth Army. Soviet counterattacks encircled the Germans, and Hitler's refusal to allow retreat doomed them. The Luftwaffe's failed airlift left the army starving, and freezing surrender followed in early 1943. The myth of German invincibility was shattered, and the Wehrmacht lost its offensive power in the east. Desperate to regain the initiative, Germany launched Operation Citadel at Kursk, resulting in the largest tank battle in history. Soviet defenses held firm, and the German attack failed, ending any hope of regaining the strategic initiative. From then on, the Red Army dictated the pace of the war. The Wehrmacht was now on the defensive, its fate sealed. Hitler's rigid, disastrous leadership turned setbacks into catastrophes as he demanded no retreat and dismissed capable generals. Meanwhile, Allied industry outpaced Germany. American factories produced tanks and planes. Soviet factories produced tanks and planes in overwhelming numbers. The Soviets relocated industry beyond German reach and churned out rugged, effective weapons. By 1943, Germany was outproduced and outnumbered on every front. The Allies opened new fronts in Italy and Normandy, while bombing crippled German industry and transport. The Wehrmacht, stretched thin across vast hostile territories, could not defend its conquests. In the end, tactical brilliance could not compensate for strategic failure. Germany lost the war it was never prepared to fight.